Opening its doors to capitalism, the surprising new face of Cuba.
We can have up to 50 seats. I think you can earn a little bit of money here.
But will this new breed of entrepreneurs provide the tourism boost the country needs? Plus, where culture and technology collide, find out how Sydney's newest museum is keeping up with the times. And
wild salmon, sooty terns and sperm whales, they're all coming up on Insider Guide.
Hello, I'm Fiona Foster. Welcome to Fast Track. Now, when you think of Cuba, you might not immediately associate it with golf courses and condominiums. But the communist-led island is in the midst of its biggest program of reforms since the revolution, slowly opening up its economy to more private enterprise. What that means for tourists is a wider range of accommodation, plans for a new theme park and a bigger choice of restaurants, including the island's first curry house. But in the drive to pull in tourists, is there a danger that Cuba could lose its unique character? Sarah Rainsford reports from Havana.
It's the land of music, mojitos and salsa. Communist Cuba has only been open to tourists since the 1990s, but the island has rapidly become a hit. For many, the allure is the fact this place is different, locked in a time warp. But Cuba is slowly opening up its state-controlled economy, and things are changing here. The food's hotting up for a start. This is Cuba's very first curry house, literally.
Through here, this is the dining room, that used to be the dining room.
It's inside Cedric's family home. That's still where privately run restaurants have to be here, but they can hire staff now and have more seats, and new places are springing up every week. But keeping an Indian restaurant stocked in Cuba isn't easy.
Well, we have friends who come here quite often, and they're always asking me, well, what do you want us to bring? And they're bringing along, you know, some of the spices, which they kindly bring along for us.
But does all this new choice mean Cuba risks losing its own distinctive character, becoming perhaps like everywhere else? Not according to the boss of Bollywood.
I think it's good for Cuba because a lot of people, like when I'm abroad, I always ask, have you been to Cuba? They say, yes, we were in Cuba, it was really great. We loved it, the salsa, the mojitos, etc. But the food was not what they expected. So, you know, if there's an Indian restaurant or a Thai restaurant, I'm sure, you know, some of the people who won't come back will come back. So, you know, it's only good for Cuba.
Doing business in a communist state still has its challenges, like advertising restrictions that force you to be creative. So this is how Cedric gets to market. Reforms in farming have made the choice of fresh produce much wider and better quality these days. Good news for the new restaurants. Some of the basics can still disappear mysteriously for months, but Cedric's lucky this time, stocking up on all the key curry ingredients.
I remember coming here 16 years ago, it wasn't as good as it is now. It's improved. A lot more variety, and the produce looks a lot better as well. It's getting better. Oh, eso.
And at night, those purchases are put to work. It's not every curry house that has lobster on the menu. And so far, this unusual taste of India has been a hit.
People seeing from abroad Cuba only pork, chicken and fish. Well, these people are showing that Cuba can give more than that.
Out on the streets, Cuba's image could be altered even further. For the first time, people here can buy and sell their cars freely, and many are dreaming of an upgrade. Ricardo took me for a spin in the only car his family's owned in 3 generations. He's using it as a taxi now in Havana.
A ride in a classic car like this is often the highlight of a tourist trip here. It's like taking a journey back in time. It's sometimes a little bit bumpy, a bit rough around the edges, but it is an experience that's unique to Cuba.
Tourist delight perhaps, but for their owners they're often a headache. And Ricardo's looking to trade his in for a more modern, reliable model.
I do feel some sentimental attachment because I've spent so many years with the same car. But you can get tired of all the work and attention it needs. And when it breaks down, you can't get the parts. And you have to invent them, and they're not the same quality.
Slowly then, these old classics could be driven off Cuba's streets. There's another change afoot, out in one of Havana's smarter suburbs. Myra has rented out rooms to tourists for many years here. A more personal option than the big hotels, she tells me a guest house is good business, and it just got better. There was a limit on how many rooms you could let, and owners like Myra had to stay on the premises, but not anymore.
Now
if a whole family of tourists wants to stay here and be alone, it's no problem. I think I will have more guests this way. If you can rent out the whole place and leave the guests to it, they feel much more comfortable. And that's possible now.
As for the bigger spenders, then this could be just the thing. Plans for a new luxury development along the coast, built around a golf course. This team hope golf tourists will be lured by their exclusive country club and tennis courts, as well as villas that foreigners can buy for the first time. Still, one key golfers' market remains closed.
90 miles that direction is the United States. I mean, without that market being open, there's a perfectly good justification to have more golf, but obviously with the fact that there's something like 28 million golfers in the United States and it's only 90 miles away, I think it's very natural that it would make an impact, yeah.
For the moment, the US bans its citizens from travelling or investing here and supporting Cuba's communist regime. Many do flout that rule, though, flying via a third country like Canada. But this could be the new face of Cuban communism. The government's calculated a golf tourist spends 4 times more than a beachgoer, and Cuba urgently needs the funds.
For now, this is the only 18-hole course that there is in Cuba, but this is a country with big plans. In fact, the idea is to have 13 courses like this one across the country by 2020, and Cuba hopes that's going to be bringing in the tourists.
The final number may well be even higher. Good news for enthusiasts like this.
The weather is fantastic and the course is a great course. They should have more. The hospitality is great and I hope they come back again.
As for Fidel Castro's famous scorn for a bourgeois sport, these days his own son is a player. What's happening now would have been unimaginable just a few years back. But these reforms are all about keeping the economy on this island afloat. The aim to preserve Cuba's socialist system. So things are changing here, but not too much.
Sarah Rainsford talking about the changing face of Cuba. And if you've been there recently, do let us know your thoughts. Is it losing some of its charm, do you think? Or are the changes better for all concerned, especially the people who live there? Email us at our usual address, that's fasttrack@bbc.com.